This is the new American media. Live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Engelman. This is Agree to Disagree. Today, we're going to be talking about the hubris of Barack Obama's CISPA. Did it pass? Did it not pass? Is it being implemented quietly anyway? Talk about DHS denials of stockpiling of ammo, gold and silver, and more. Coming up.
You are listening to the new American media.
So today we're going to be speaking with Blake, the eccentric Walley, once again. He is a radio host, a blogger, a general rabble-rouser, as I like to call him. And we're going to get into some of the most interesting stories of the week. And happy NFL Draft Day to all of you sports fans. Yeah, we do a show called The Unhappy Hour, and we talk about sports. But we're not going to do that this particular moment. Right now, we're going to get into the meat. The meat of the sandwich, the important stuff. Not the dessert, not the appetizer. The important stuff. Good morning, Blake. Welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
Excellent, Brian. How are you?
I'm living the dream, except your phone's crackly. Say something else. See if we need to hit the reset on the connection.
All right.
Okay. Gotta love live radio. We're going to try this again. Yeah, see what happens when you have a producer and an engineer and all that stuff. They do this stuff muted on the side. You get the front row seats. I'm driving the car, I'm looking at the map, I'm adjusting the radio, setting the...
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit better. Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. How has your week been? Find any interesting stories? Yeah. Anything weird going on in the news this past week, Blake?
No, nothing really unusual. You know, it's mostly the same old little this, little that. You know how things go. So,
let's do this. Let's start. We're gonna chop this show, this Agree to Disagree program, up into several different pieces. By the way, if you guys have never checked out Blake, he does a radio show on freedomizerradio.com. Yes, it's a fake word, freedomizerradio.com. It's every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. You can check him out there and follow him on Twitter. He's at eccentric99. Let's get right into one of the weirdest ones. This would be the Boston bombing story. You and I are coming from slightly different perspectives on this, and let's hash it out, because we're hearing a lot of different stories, just like the day, Thursday night when all this stuff was happening, and you couldn't figure out what was true and what wasn't.
That's Friday, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Thursday into Friday. So, let's get into it. What have you been finding as you've been digging into this story? Is there anything that strikes you as weird?
Yeah, I think weird would be an understatement. In fact, I've even got a article from a few days ago that is saying 17 unanswered questions about the Boston Marathon. The media is afraid to ask, and yeah, there's a lot of questions out there, and it's kind of and I'm not gonna. I've studied a lot of this stuff, and I'm not going to tell you I have all the answers, and I would be concerned about, I'd be wary about people that say that they do, or people that basically just go along with any kind of official story without questioning some of the issues at hand.
Okay.
How about you, Brian?
Well, I actually got into an interesting Facebook. Well, how do I want to phrase it? It wasn't an argument.
Heated discussion.
I think heated discussion is a pretty fair way to phrase that. And let me read this. This is from my buddy Sean. I hope he doesn't mind me. I'll just leave it with Sean.
Mildly heated conversation. All right.
Yeah, this was. So here's the thread. Let me just get into this real quick, because I think it sheds a little bit of illuminating. Illuminative, is that a word? Illuminative.
Let's go with it. It sounds great.
Yeah, sure. It sheds a little light on this. Why am I trying to get too clever here? So my buddy Sean says in a post, he says, I don't take things at face value. I don't believe things just because it's what's in the news or anyone out there tells me. But I don't automatically discount it either. I try to make informed personal decisions that remain subject to change. I just wonder how much good could be done in the world with all of the energy that's put into these wild conspiracy theories. Some of them go beyond ridiculous, into the realm of bad taste. Don't be afraid to tell someone they're full of S, regardless of what side of the political spectrum they fall in. Quick comments, because it gets the thread going. First letter C responds, "What are you referring to?" Another person, initial CL, says, "Well said, sir. The hardest part is, we'll just never know the truth. Evidence can easily be made to be compelling, and paranoia lives in us all these days." C replies back, "Well said indeed. Here's the protocol I've been trying to follow when learning about a situation. 1, never believe the official," that's air quotes. That doesn't translate to radio, but that's official means air quotes. Number 1, never believe the official story if the details don't add up. 2, follow the money and ask, who benefits? Number 3, look for the other stories that are happening at the same time, yet are not being widely reported or outright suppressed. Number 4, ask tougher questions than the selected media and demand answers. Number 5, connect the dots and find out who else is connected. Number 6, refer to history and precedents. I reply, right on, everybody. Don't accept any official stories, don't believe every wild conspiracy theory you hear, and we must all do our own research. Person Y replies, "I think the conspiracy theory is sort of a modern-day grotesque entertainment, like freak shows of the past." I replied, "Nah, I don't buy the official Roswell or Kennedy stories either. That doesn't make me grotesque." Anyway, it goes on and on. So let's talk in general, Blake, because when what we do in alternative media is we dig into the stuff that you're not seeing the Shepard Smiths and the Rachel Maddows or I can't say Pierce Morgan, but what about Anderson Cooper? You don't see these other guys digging into these stories. So we will, and if there's nothing there, I'm not trying to lie to anybody. I mean, what are your thoughts in general when you take a look at the Boston bombing and you start seeing things that don't make sense? How do you...
Well, there's a lot of people I would be critical of, and Shepard Smith wouldn't be necessarily on that list. I think there's a lot of, he's not really on my radar as being a bad guy. But speaking of Fox News, I do not like a lot of the things that they've been covering this last week, and I've been, warming up to them for the last few months, just covering some of the crazy scandals going on with the Obama administration. But as a side issue, I saw a lot of disturbing thing from some of the people on Fox that seem to automatically just take the official story and run with it, and they're in fact angry at this younger kid here. I pronounce his name Johar, the Tsarnaev brothers. Yeah, they've already basically said he's guilty, and they're even calling for basically that he shouldn't have his Miranda rights. I mean, it's disgusting. They're talking about treating him as an enemy combatant. There was a brilliant bit by Jon Stewart in The Daily Show that really exposed them Wednesday night, and people should go check that out to see the hypocrisy of the pundits on Fox, who are all talking about civil liberties, blah, blah, going on with this gun control debate and so many different angles. And then as soon as they have this, supposed terrorist, this Al-Qaeda guy, all of a sudden they want to take his rights away and throw him to Gitmo. So I didn't like that. Very disturbing developments with Fox this week.
Speaking of Al-Qaeda guy, I went to school with a guy named Al-Qaeda.
Really?
Yeah, he was in my home ec class. No, I'm just kidding. But that's a conversation I've been having a lot lately. Is about this whole Miranda thing versus enemy combatants. You have Lindsey Graham and John McCain out there, really trying to push the enemy combatant thing. And wasn't that the whole point, the whole concern over the National Defense Authorization Act, is that you can be detained as a belligerent? What the heck does that mean, a belligerent? You know how many demerits you got in high school? Yeah, if you ever got a demerit, you could be detained indefinitely for the duration of a war, a conflict against who? Terror. Well, that's a thing that never ends because you're belligerent. Okay. Wasn't that the big concern with the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA that Obama signed, is that if we're not all given the constitutionally granted rights to a fair trial, but then you have these old school idiot Republicans out there just trying to push, no, yeah, they're American citizens, but no, now they're enemy combatants. Just throw the book at them. Let's waterboard them for the next decade, and they're guilty until proven innocent. That is scary crap, because one day that finger can get pointed at you, and then you got to defend yourself, even though they have. It just seems like everything's upside down here to me. It's such a slippery slope.
And they were right away Friday making a statement. We're talking about a lot of the breaking elements of this story happened on Friday with the police chase and all that. And yeah, then there was a big statement by Lindsey Graham and John McCain, and they wanted to say, hey, this is a good case for us to use the enemy combatant thing, so they could go and interrogate this guy.
That guy's a citizen of the United States. A dirtbag if he did what's being alleged.
If he did what he did,
he did what he did.
We need to find out.
In a courtroom. Right. I mean, it seems pretty...
Exactly.
If all of this stuff plays out as it's been reported, and let the details hash out how they will, if it plays out the way that it did, this should be a pretty solid case, and he deserves a right to a trial. Absolutely.
Or we could listen to the five and have Eric Bolling and Greg Gutfeld tell us that he's already guilty and that he's a dirtbag and that he deserves to be tortured. And Sean Hannity, I don't know.
Now, is Jack? I know Jack Ruby's not still around. Didn't he have an inoperable form of cancer at the time, which is why he put bullets into Lee Harvey Oswald to shut up the patsy? Does Jack Ruby have a son or something that maybe Eric Bolling and and I generally like the five. I generally like Fox better than the others. I don't love them.
Like I said, I've been warming up to them with just the scandals, Fast and Furious, Benghazi, the big Second Amendment big fight. I mean, it's been kind of interesting because I'm the lifeline. Usually I've kind of always been against Fox, and then kind of lately I've been like, maybe they're not so, or at least they're looking good, because the liberal media has gotten so bad trying to protect this corrupt administration that I've been finding myself unlikely allies with Fox, and all of a sudden this last week or so, and they're just like, let's just throw out these rights so we can, make sure we can get this torture this poor kid, and we don't even know if he's guilty or not.
Well, I don't know if he's a poor kid. I'm leaning toward believing that he may have done this, but I'm reserving judgment till I can get some more details than one stuttery video. And, I'll just that's why you have trials. Just sort it out. And on the flip side, I've never watched any of the Jodi Arias stuff because I can't handle all the tabloid crap there. But I mean, you have Rachel Maddow teaming up with Greg Gutfeld and Eric Bolling and Bill O'Reilly, just slamming people that are not marching in lockstep with whatever this official story is. In a couple of days, we've got it all figured out. The crime lab's pieced everything back together. We know everything about them. We've tracked down the uncle of these kids. We know that they were receiving welfare benefits. We know they traveled to Turkmenistan or wherever the heck they're from. Did I just say Turkmenistan? I
like that. You'll go with
it. Sorry, I kind of went with a little bit of the South Park thing. Anyway, but it almost reminds me. It's not as bad. Do you remember on 9/11? When within the same day they had the Brady Bunch lineup with all the pictures of everybody involved. The same day they had the Brady Bunch lineup. It's like, and then the stock footage of Bin Laden shooting. It's like, really? Okay, so you guys had this queued up, ready to press play, but you couldn't have seen it in advance. Really? Okay. No, that's
right away. It must be Bin Laden, and it must be these hijackers. And then 6 of the 19 guys ended up being alive or something, and we still haven't really had any hard evidence linking Bin Laden to the attacks. So it was interesting how they just rolled it out.
I think Bin Laden was in Tower 7 with a hammer. I think he took it down from the inside with a hammer. No, but if you mention some of these strange things, we're nutters. We're whack jobs. We need tinfoil hats because we just, I don't believe the Roswell story. Am I crazy? Okay, well, let's narrow it down. Do you believe the JFK story? Do you believe the Waco story? Do you believe the Oklahoma City story? Do you believe the 9/11 story? Do you believe the Boston bombing story? Let's go down the line, shall we?
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Nobody knew that the Pearl Harbor attacks were coming. It's not that Churchill knew, and it's not like we also knew, but we knew that without the public on our side, they would have never had their support to go in to stop Hitler in World War II. Okay, so I guess we're crazy if we question some of that stuff across the line. What I named 10 things there, 15 things. if I question
we
some
could,
stuff about it, doesn't it seem crazier to believe all 15 official versions of those weird stories? It seems crazier to me to just believe the official version of those stories as opposed to go, yeah, I'm not sure. I know what I'm supposed to believe, and I know what I've been told, but why did Tower 7 come down? How did that come down? Nothing touched it. Hang on. Let's talk a little bit more about Waco. Why was that aggressive force used? Okay, hang on. No. Okay, we'll keep going here. Hang on.
Yeah.
The Boston bombs.
How did the Oklahoma City bomb go? How did a fuel fertilizer bomb in a truck do that much damage to the outside of a building, and the ATF wasn't there? So, yeah, something doesn't. I mean, we could just go on, or you go back to 9/11 and the supposed plane that hit the Pentagon, and we got like 90 cameras that are outside, and we can't see any of the footage. That just shows it. Yeah, you can show the planes hitting the towers, but you can't show what hits the Pentagon. We're just supposed to get 4 frames from an old gas station from a few miles away, and that's supposed to appease everybody. Yeah, nothing to see here. And, the Kennedy thing, you had Oswald even saying, I'm a patsy. And then, I don't know how many people actually knew what that word meant, or if that was part of people's vernacular vocabulary back in the day. Like, you know what framing means, but... the guy's even saying, I'm a patsy, and then he doesn't even get a trial because he gets shot. And now with this kid, he's suffered some sort of unusual throat injury, some mysterious throat injury, and he can't talk. But somehow he's been able to make statements, supposedly, according to unnamed law enforcement officials who have supposedly interrogated him and determined that he's a member of Al-Qaeda, and he did the bombing because he's so mad, because it's all about Islam and his hatred of American freedom, I guess. But we can't see any evidence of that. So
okay, wait.
And of course,
I
they read
didn't.
him his Miranda rights. So now he's okay. What's that?
No.
Now he can't talk anymore.
I didn't hear that he's that somebody, some unnamed official, is saying that it's because he supports Al Qaeda. I didn't catch that part. What was that one?
Damn it! I know, and I covered it on my show yesterday morning.
By the way, we're talking.
On,
With Blake Walley. His show is called Eccentric Perspective. You can find him every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific on freedomizerradio.com. Okay. So like the plot is getting very specific now. He's admitting to all this stuff because they're handing him a piece of paper because he can't speak because he had to sleep with the fishes. See. Give you a knuckle sandwich, see? Stop you from talking. So he's getting a piece of paper with his blown-out throat, and he's saying, yes, I did this. Al-Qaeda, good. U.S., bad. P.S., thanks for the welfare. P.S., sorry I ran over my brother, Mom. P.S., Allah Akbar, because that's what the mom said in an interview, which was fantastic.
Right.
So, this is such a lousy story, man, because there are... Oh, but hold on. Let me
But
back
it's kind
up.
of disappearing. I haven't seen a lot on the mainstream. It's kind of died down a couple of days. I think they're trying to avoid it so they can get their stories straight because they've got so many problems right now.
Like Benghazi. It was a YouTube video.
Yeah, but this one, that one was a partisan one at least, so you at least had Fox able to look good while the liberal media looked absolutely pathetic, if not criminal. Covering up for everything and acting like it wasn't a big deal.
I thought
they still have managed to drag it out.
I thought the Boston situation was a spontaneous uprising sparked by a YouTube video.
Right.
But Hillary received cables begging for help, begging and pleading for anyway. Yeah, this is. I just remember in the wake of Benghazi, all the fake stories they tried telling, none of them held water. And we still don't have... When did that happen? September 11th?
Yep.
Coming up on, getting closer to a year than half a year? Coming up now?
Yeah, almost 9 months or so, yeah.
Enough to birth a fake story? Is 9 months about the time it takes to conceive and incubate and birth a fake story?
You'd think we'd be able to at least talk to the survivors of Benghazi by now. It's only April. It's only the end of April now.
Well, Blake, let me ask you this, because apparently one of the guys in one of the iconic... and tragic and gruesome photos where he's being wheelchaired out and he has a bone sticking out, his legs have been blown off.
right? I don't want to laugh.
You're not
It's
laughing
real.
at that. No. But apparently this guy came to in the hospital even while he was drugged up. At least this was one of the stories going around. That he identified the person and says, I saw him set it down seconds before it blew up, and he identified this guy. Now, you're less likely, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, that's one I don't even want to touch because it's so outrageous. I think that even if it's true that that this guy's an actor or something, I don't think it would be productive for me to try to convince somebody that this guy is just an acting and that's fake blood or whatever. But I do have an issue with that story. I've looked at it a little bit. It certainly is very controversial. I don't know if they used crisis actors in this event or not. But if they're rolling this guy out in the wheelchair, I would think that if you just got your legs blown off, you'd probably be passed out. You might die. You'd go into shock. And it does look like fake blood, to be honest with you. When you look at the pictures, it looks a little bit too much like red paint. But I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And I feel horrible if it really was a real person who did get his legs blown off. I mean, I guess it is possible, and some brave people put tourniquets on him, and they saved his life.
That's exactly what I was
going to
say. It was quick action,
Yeah.
and I seeing that it's tied off to prevent he was heavily sedated when he came out of surgery is a story. I mean, but that's the thing. I'm seeing these stories, when you have so many crazy conspiracy theories out there, I'm seeing something that every injured person. Well, I'm seeing people out there saying all those people that were injured, they were all crisis actors. Now, come on, really? I don't buy that crap 1 second. There was somebody standing next to someone that had a leg blown off that was standing next to him a second before. I don't know how far out on the perimeter you got to go, but there was someone that was there next to someone that had legs and then didn't. So I don't even know how to reply to that. Now, I wasn't there. I couldn't watch the gruesome stuff, I will admit. But, I mean, really? The Sandy Hook crisis actor story is coming back as they're
running from that. They're scared to talk about that. Yeah, you will not hear, but where's Robbie Parker? I still don't know after all these months, and we still can't get one single interview. Just to put the rumor to bed.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, so let me ask you this. Do you believe that the injured people at the Boston Marathon are faking it?
I would say no. I don't know. I've seen the wheelchair guy, the prosthetic legs or whatever, and I don't know if that's real or not. I could see it going both ways. I would just think, number one, he was already in a wheelchair. Number two, all of a sudden his legs are gone. But I heard that they were already prosthetic legs. He didn't have any legs. I don't know. And then why isn't he? I would think he'd go into shock after all the blood loss. So I don't know. Something about it is unusual. It's not something I want to get into or use that as a smoking gun evidence of the story, because it's just going to be used against you, especially if you're wrong. Then you're really going to look like a jerk, and rightfully so. So it's dangerous.
But you know what else is dangerous? What else is dangerous is the fact that we've been lied to so many times. We instantly disbelieve official stories now, not just you and me. All the specifics, where I stand on it, I don't know. I don't know. I've heard the official story. I wasn't there. I didn't know anyone personally impacted by it. I'm soaking it up. It's just when you see a Sandy Hook turn into all of these restrictions on the Second Amendment and all the Pierce Morgan, all the brainwashing going on by all the major media outlets trying to claim 90% of the people want XYZ, I instantly say, hang on a second, I smell a rat here, stop. I'm not saying that they were behind it. I'm saying they could absolutely be exploiting it for something. Or, how many times have the feds set people up, mentally unstable people, set them up and provided them with weapons, air quotes, only to not have them activate because they were inoperable, to arrest them and say we foiled a terror plot. like you set up
There's at
the
least
people.
17. There was a New York Times article and Judge Napolitano video that people can go look up, 17 plots by the FBI. Yeah, there's definitely something going on, but go ahead.
No, that's exactly what I'm getting at. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do where I think it's ludicrous for people to say all of the people injured in the Boston bombing were they're all crisis actors and the 8-year-old that was killed didn't exist or something. I don't know what they say about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't buy any of that stuff, but I have questions, I have concerns. I'm trying to figure out what question I have for you here, but I really don't know what to say because it's.
Yeah, I don't even want to even follow that particular part of the story. The main thing for me is just the holes in the other ones. What are their connections to the FBI, the CIA, or what have you? Are they, then Glenn Beck's pushing the Saudi national story. That's really unusual as well. The fact that they can't talk, but he supposedly made a confession. Even though there's no proof of anything. Of course, they're trying to make it look like the mother is crazy, and she said, Alu Akbar? What is it? Allahu Akbar?
It's almost like Allah Akbar, but it's Allah Akbar. It's like Allah, or it's not Allahu Akbar.
Yeah. And that's sort of associated with terrorism, but that's not necessarily. It just means God is great or something like that. So it can be used.
Well, but it's like
I
I told you when in Fort Hood, when dude stands up on a cafeteria table and starts mowing people down, screaming Allahu Akbar. Well, okay.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's another. But
that's workplace violence. The White House won't even declare that.
Yeah, but they use it as like this, an extremist, violent statement when it's not. It has been used by extremists, but it's also been used by...
Hang on. If I'm in Saudi Arabia at a cafeteria, I jump up on a table and say, Jesus saves! And I start mowing people down with an AK.
Right.
And somebody else does it after that. And it becomes kind of this rallying cry.
A nice person comes along, and one person just says, hey, Jesus saves. And then I'm supposed to go, hey, well, you must be a terrorist. Because you said that, and then that's because some other terrorist said that. So it's kind of guilt by association, and it's not really fair.
All right.
As far as I'm concerned.
All right. Really quick, give me that Glenn Beck Saudi National update there, because that's a story I've been following. Well, it popped on my radar, and I know that it's being pushed in certain areas. Can you just give us the update with that one?
Okay, you know what? I'll bring you something related to it, and we'll tie that into the Glenn Beck thing. I've got an article from John Rappaport of No More Fake News. This one's a link from Activist Post. Ministry of Truth makes the Boston bombing suspect disappear. And this is the Abdul Rahman al-Harbi. He wasn't here, and then he wasn't. He was featured in major stories, then he wasn't. And the Ministry of Truth, as in the controlled media, has no further concern. So for a few hours, al-Harbi was the prime suspect in the Boston bombing, and then he was a person of interest. So I'm trying to think what I can cherry pick. So we got the Secretary of State, John Kerry, met with Saudi Foreign Minister Saud, and Obama met with Saud, too, and then with the Saudi ambassador. There's no word. I think it's like a 19-hour flight or something from Saudi Arabia, but I guess we're supposed to believe that this guy flew over, or was he already here? I don't know. Then we've got al-Harbi became a witness who wasn't severely burned. He'd received minor injuries. The DHS then took his travel visa and prepared to deport him, and then poof, where is he? And, of course, we had Michelle Obama visited him in a Boston hospital. And he's been to the White House 7 times, and he's connected to, I guess he's got like 6 people in his family that are on a terror watch list, and the watch list is only like 85 people. Whoa. So, I mean, there's something very strange. So Glenn Beck is right to point this out here. So it says right here, according to Glenn Beck, who produced a copy of the form of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection National Targeting Center, al-Harbi is designated as a 212-3B, and that classification translates to terrorist connections at the least. But then, of course, Janet Napolitano was flaky about that and dodging questions. So it seems like there's something they don't want you to know here.
All right. Well, let's keep an eye on that one. Speaking about something that they don't want us to know. I'm sorry. Did you have another point on that?
Oh, okay, yeah, I found another part. This says the Glenn Beck aspect of the story is interesting. Yes, was he deported? Is he still in the U.S.? Why did government officials decide to let Alla Harvey drop from the suspect list? Then they decided he needs to be deported. But yeah, the Glenn Beck aspect of the story is interesting. Major media can simply reject everything he says because he's Glenn Beck. However, Beck was presenting a document on the Blaze. The cover page is posted there, and other reporters could, if they wanted to, substantiate it as genuine or fake, independent of Beck or anything he asserts. So they could find out, but they don't. They stay away. And this is basically kind of what this article is about the Ministry of Truth and how they don't dig after leads. They just take the official story and just run with it. Like, oh, well, they said it, so that means that this 19-year-old kid, and of course, they tried to run with a story the other day where they were planning to go to Times Square next. I mean, and then I think that story's kind of dropped out of the news. I don't know if there's anything to substantiate that. But yeah, very weird. And then Glenn Beck also went out to has an interesting article and a video. Actually, I don't want to say a video. It's more of like a radio clip where he says that he thinks Obama will be impeached and that perhaps criminal problems for Janet Napolitano is part of this cover-up. So I don't know. It's pretty bold for Glenn Beck to go out and say stuff like that. But nothing to it.
You're talking about
someone's asking questions. There's more besides Glenn Beck. He'll act like he's the center of the world, but or that side of information. But yeah, it's interesting. There's other sides of the story here. But yeah, the sad thing about the corporate news, and we kind of made that mention earlier, this isn't like Benghazi where it's like an opportunity for the right wing to go after the left wing. In this case, it's the establishment story, and now you're watching MSNBC and Fox like they're buddy up now to protect the establishment and protect the official story. And anybody who goes outside of that or asks any questions is a tinfoil hat conspiracy nut.
Well, you know what? I wanted to make this point earlier. You were saying that lately you've been watching a little bit more Fox News, and they've been doing a better job. And you know what? It is easy to do a pretty decent job of journalism when the other guy's in office. It's easy for Fox to do some hard-hitting stories when they really want to take down the other opponent. It's easy for MSNBC to accidentally have a few good stories against the Bush administration for 8 years because they really want to bring him down and make him look bad, which frankly is why I like websites. Well, that's why I like websites like Russia Today. They hate the U.S. Anything that makes us look bad, they cannot wait to show it. And they're not going to show it in the mainstream media in the United States for the most part. So I like getting news from places like Russia Today that really want to embarrass us, meaning if there's truth behind the story, at least we're going to know what it is. You know, talk to me like I'm a grown-up. You know, I'm not in 7th grade anymore. You know, I'm not riding my first tricycle, okay? Tell me what's going on. I'm tired of the lies and the lies to cover up the lies and the lies to cover up the lies that covered up the first lies before you had to kill the third person that wouldn't follow the other lie so you could get to the 7th lie. It's like, enough already. This is crazy. Just what in the hell is going on? Tell me. Because, Blake, are you trying to mislead anybody? I'm gonna ask you yes or no, and I'm going to ask you lots of these. Are you trying to mislead anybody about what really happened with the JFK assassination, yes or no?
No.
Are you trying to mislead anybody about Roswell?
Nope.
Are you trying to mislead on 9/11?
Nope.
Benghazi?
Nope.
Boston bombing?
No.
Oklahoma City?
No.
This year's winner of American Idol? No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea who's even.
I don't even know who's in there.
Yeah, I know. See, that's good though. Did you hear the latest at Jodi Arias? No, I didn't, and I feel really good about that. But that's the point, guys. We're not trying to lie about anything, but maybe it takes a higher level of fact for us to believe official stories when we've been lied to so many damn times. You know, it's like there's only so many times you can get hit. I know there's a good analogy here. I don't want to use like spousal abuse or like parental abuse, but you know what? Yeah. When somebody's built up a track record of letting you down and just straight up lying to you and betraying you and trying to put one over on you and trying to trick you into something or taking some of your stuff away by tricking you first, you know, it's really hard to gain that trust back. And unfortunately, that's where our government stands today. They've been behind so many bad things over the past 100 years. it's hard to believe anything.
Yeah.
Whether
You're absolutely right. The Congress right now has a 10% approval rating. Everybody's pretty much against Congress. Even the media companies are losing, viewers in droves. They're at an all-time low. Their credibility is falling apart. And, it's getting so what do people do? You know what I mean? But, I mean, is it corporate-run news to some extent? And I can even get back to that article and just kind of what you were saying. So, I mean, they've got all these holes in this crazy story, and then what happens? Let's drop it down the memory hole and go elsewhere. Brian, the relationship between America and Saudi Arabia is complex, okay?
It's complex.
Furthermore,
it's complex.
Red Sox, right. And the Red Sox are off to a good start. Former Congressman Anthony Weiner says there may be more penis pictures out there. CNN is reviving its old show Crossfire, and Newt Gingrich may be one of the stars. Brian, the polar ice caps are receding, but they might be expanding. This is all out of John Rappaport. He's a pretty good writer.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the science is settled, Blake. The science, and we're,
Right.
we're not trying to create fake stories out of Aurora or Sandy Hook just because they both happen to be in the same scene of Batman where the Batman movie was playing. But take a look; it's kind of weird. We're not trying to lie. We're not trying to make up any additional weird stories. But you're gonna have plenty of people telling you the same story. You want more of that? Go do it. There are some really tan, really fit people, really attractive people with perfect pearly white smiles that ding when they smile the right way. You're going to find some great Android news people. Well, I'm thinking of all the attractive news babes, as Rush calls them. Anyway, but I'm trying not to name people specifically and attack. I'm just a little tongue-tied right now thinking. Anyway, but if you want Android news fed to you by beautiful people, you can get that anywhere. And I don't mean the operating system. I mean kind of robotic, kind of pre-programmed. Here's your script and go. And there's not a lot of thinking going on. It's just a lot of regurgitation of pre-written, pre-scripted material.
Exactly. And anybody can go to CNN or MSNBC, and it doesn't matter which show you watch. Every pundit on both of those two stations have the exact same opinions on every single issue. You don't see them disagreeing on anything. Whatever, you can cookie cutter, you can swap them around. It's going to be the same stuff. They're just regurgitating the establishment talking points.
And that's what we're doing over here at the New American Media. We're at least trying to have weird conversations. And it's okay. We can agree to disagree. We're not going to be all about the same things on every issue by any stretch of the imagination. There's no way it could possibly happen. But I'm okay having a weird, crazy, wacky conversation about truthers and birthers and Benghaziers and bomber, I don't know, whatever it is. But anyway, it's just, for me, when the government has been caught so many times with their hands in the cookie jar lying to us, and you notice that the credit card bill comes in at $17 trillion on the credit card on top of it.
Right.
Ooh, buddy, heads are going to roll. This is not good.
And they give you a big story with a whole bunch of holes, and we're just supposed to not question anything. Otherwise, I guess you're a bad American.
I
know, it's frustrating.
I thought Benghazi was caused, the murder of Ambassador Chris Stevens and the three others was caused by a spontaneous uprising over outrage over a YouTube video nobody saw. Wasn't that the official story until it wasn't?
It was, Brian, and thank God they arrested that guy and put him away.
Hey, on top of that, by the way, we did not catch and prosecute people that murdered our ambassador and the three others at our embassy. Nope, no justice there. What is that picture?
And we haven't even talked to the survivors.
Wait, there were survivors, huh?
Yeah, well, we're not allowed to. I guess they're not allowed to say anything because they might, maybe contradict the official story, maybe, or I don't know. How do you? What do you say when we can't talk to them? And it's almost like 8 months later or whatever. And what are we supposed to think?
Well, when we're talking about contradicting official stories, let's do this. Let's talk about the Department of Homeland Security, some of our favorite people out there. And I'm sure you're listening right now, so hello, everybody. Thank you, DHS and NSA and CIA and what other alphabet agencies are there that would be listening in? Anyway, but...
Yeah.
You know, I want to get into this other story. You have found an interesting article about ammo shortages, gold and silver shortages, and then DHS denials about not stockpiling ammo to make it scarce in supply and higher in price. I want to get to that on the other side. We need to shift to a couple other stories here. We're going to start moving a little bit faster, but there's still so much. I mean, we had John B. Wells on the program last Friday as they were arresting it was breaking as we were doing the show. There's so much to talk about. We're only a week removed from this stuff. You know, well, it was last Monday, so I guess like a week and a half. But, you know, I don't take it too kindly when my country's attacked. I don't like it. This is America. This is America. And I don't like that. You ain't going to bring that stuff in here. No, I don't like it. I don't. Whether it's just opportunistic politicians trying to exploit a tragedy for their own political gain, whether it was a false flag, whether it was two idiots, whether it's part of a global Muslim extremist terrorist network that wants to kill innocent people. I don't know. Maybe all of it, maybe none of it, maybe some of here, maybe 10% of this, 90% of that, and, well, 0% of the other. I almost pulled a Yogi Berra. 90% of this game is half mental. I don't know. He has the best quotes. Anyway,
I know he's famous for having all those little yogi-isms or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I almost caught myself in one, like a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You ain't gonna fool me again. Yeah, I always screw that one up when I do it. But anyway, I do want to bounce.
It's hard to do because it was a screw up, and then trying to yes. All right. Anyway, it's good to just have the sound bite up. Yeah, the old George Bush. It was a good one though.
Yeah, you can't unscramble eggs. And when the quote is so butchered in the first place, how do you unscramble something that's scrambled already? But no, I want to talk about the ammo shortages, DHS denials on the other side. You're listening to Agree to Disagree here on the NewAmericanMedia.com. I'm your host, Brian Engelman. I want to take a quick second and remind you that you can sign up to get Blake's Eccentric Perspective podcast. Go on iTunes and search Eccentric Perspective. You can follow him on Twitter at Eccentric99 and check out his homepage, eccentricperspective.com. And you can listen to him live on Freedomizer. That's Freedomizer radio.com, freedomizerradio.com every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so, youtube.com/The New American Media. Follow us on Twitter at American_media_. Check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. We want to welcome our new correspondent, a new member to the New American Media, Helena. You can check out, she's been posting some of the health articles there, and she's going to be a regular contributor filling out the site. So definitely check it out in the weeks to come. And we're definitely going to be making some upgrades over there at thenewamericanmedia.com. And search The New American Media on Facebook and like our page because we like it when you do that. So we'll take a quick second for a brief station identification break here on the TNAM Radio Network, and we'll come back talking about guns, specifically ammunition, gold and silver shortages, and Department of Homeland Security denials. Right on the other side.
Follow the NewAmericanMedia.com on Twitter at American_media_.